I'd like to thank the Deputy for putting down the question. Policy in relation to the development of the aquaculture sector is a matter for the Minister for Agriculture, Food and the Marine. The consistent position of Ministers and Ministers of State in my department and Inland Fisheries Ireland, the IFI, the state agency with responsibility for the inland fisheries resource, has been to support aquaculture development which is environmentally sustainable and which meets the obligations of domestic EU and international legislation, particularly the EU Habitats Directive and other environmental requirements. I understand that a significant number of land-based salmon farms have been introduced in Norway and Denmark. Land-based salmon farming has also been developed in North America and in Europe, with plans to initiate Europe's largest such installation in Scotland. I am advised, however, that the development of closed containment systems in fish production internationally is at a relatively early stage. I am also advised that analysis of land-based salmon farming demonstrates advantages of closed containment system land-based salmon aquaculture. From the perspective of IFI's statutory responsibilities for the conservation and protection of wild salmonids, that is salmon and trout, the use of these systems would mean that segregation of farm fish from wild species is assured and long-standing issues concerned with interaction are less likely to arise. Other advantages identified include controls on water quality and temperature, and that biosecurity, diseases, parasites and the delivery of daily husbandry are much easier to manage in closed systems. The elimination of threats of escapes of farmed fish into the wild environment is also cited. All of those expected benefits would be of assistance in protecting wild stocks. As I indicated at the outset, policy on the development of aquaculture is a matter for the Minister for Agriculture, Food and Marine. The State Seafood Development Body and Bordí Scawara may be in a position to advise on other aspects of developments and trials of closed containment aquaculture systems in Ireland and internationally.
Deputy Kyne.
Yeah, thank you, Minister, for your reply, and I appreciate that the Minister for Agriculture and the Marine is primarily responsible in relation to aquaculture. Obviously, concerns have been raised about the evolution of fish farming over the years and salmon cages, and particularly large-scale salmon cages, and concerns regarding escapees, regarding lice, regarding breeding with native stocks, and the concerns that the anglers have in relation to the deterioration of the numbers of salmon smolts returning to our native rivers. And obviously, from a tourism and angling point of view, this whole area is hugely important. You listed a number of the advantages of these systems, and I appreciate that it's at an early stage internationally, but there are advantages in terms of the control of light and temperature, control of effluent, with the collection of nutrients from the salmon, protection from predation, bad weather, losses in bad weather, disease, no need for pesticides or antibiotics. There are obviously disadvantages in terms of costs and extra heating, pumping, lighting costs, but I think it's an approach that should be looked at, and I wonder, would yourself and the Minister for the Marine sit down and consider supporting projects that might come for land-based systems?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Deputy, again. I think we should always be vigilant, and if there's any opportunity for collaboration on an interdepartmental way, be it my own officials and engaging with Minister Coveney's officials, I think that's a good thing. And the backdrop to closed containment systems, if we look at Canada, we look at Scotland, there is a heavily upfront investment, capital investment. It is at the early stages, and it is something that I suppose is at the development stage. And you know, as science and as technology improves, there's obviously opportunities in the future. But it also should be noted that closed containment systems don't necessarily or will not necessarily be located in coastal areas. They just need to be near a readily available water supply, fresh water supply. So that's something I would also note. But I think your suggestion about continuing the dialogue, and certainly if there's any collaborative opportunities within my department and within Minister Coveney's department in relation to sustainable aquaculture, and that is the ethos of the role that I have. It's sustainable aquaculture around the broad parameters of environmental sustainability in the first instance. Thank you.